Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another bonus episode of the Horror Hangout, where film fans gather together to talk about the best and worst of the horror genre, and increasingly hang out with some people bringing you some new horrors to the screen. That's what we're doing today. I am here with Jasmine Kheen, one of the stars of the R.I.P. Man. Jasmine, how you doing?
Hello, I'm doing well.
Yeah, thank you for joining me here on a Sunday morning. You're saving me from going out for a run, and you've got up early yourself when you could be having a rest. Before we get into the R.I.P. Man itself, let's go and talk about you. I know you have some more credits to your name. You're not just working in front of the camera though. Tell me about your career and how you found yourself in the horror genre of all the ones you could have ended up in.
I'm a Norwegian actress. So I grew up in Norway and then I moved to Spain, where I kind of did some musicals. And then I ended up going to uni to study here. So I went to Met Film School and I got a degree in screen acting. And then since then, I've just kind of been trying to um, figure out the industry basically and what the uni degree kind of did to me. Because I've always wanted to act. But in uni, we had to do different projects ourselves, and I ended up ADing quite a lot. And I quite enjoyed the sort of behind the scenes planning and like kind of putting everything together. And so after graduating, I ended up meeting this producer that I've been working as an assistant for called Alexandra Amarte. So we're currently working on a Bedouin epic called Antara, and a sort of like a Wolf of Wall Street shipping film in like the world of shipping called Tycoon. So that's been quite exciting learning about. And then in terms of acting, I've just been kind of trying to explore different genres, take on different projects. And yeah, I ended up being casting the R.I.P. Man, which is amazing because I've always been in love with horror films. Me and my friends were like the kind of weirdos who who would find horror films and kind of show to the rest of our classmates who like it would absolutely scare the shit out of them. And somehow we still had friends at the end of that. But I've always been really interested in horror, and I think the horror space can be so creative and so intelligently done. Um, so yeah, R.I.P. Man being my first feature film, I think it was just an incredible honor to be a part of the project.
Oh, yeah, and wonderful news. You'll be glad to know, Jasmine, that you're in good company around here, being those strange kids showing their friends horror movies growing up. Growing up in Norway as you did, what are the like big films over there? Is it English language films or are there local films in Norway that are huge when you were growing up over there?
So the thing is, okay, so we have access to a lot of obviously American and British television. So anything that's like shown on TV and international films, they're never really dubbed unless it's a children's film. Um, so we get quite a lot of English films, and I think that's also why, we start learning English when we're six, and then you have all of this media like songs and movies that are in English, and I think that's why a lot of people are learn English at a really early age. But aside from that, the Norwegian film industry, it's a lot in Norwegian. And I think that's been one thing that I've been kind of noticing over the year that we have some great cinema. Um, and we've had occasional like breakthroughs into the international markets, but not in the sense that I feel like Norway deserves, you know? And I think The Worst Person in the World by Joachim Montrier, that kind of had some momentum. And it did amazing. But then now he's come out with Sentimental Value, which is an incredible film. And I think so many um, filmmakers, at least me as an actress, I really related to sort of the dynamics that were in that film, and I was absolutely crying by the end of it. But that's received a ton of Oscar nomination, global Golden Globes nominations, where Stellan Skarsgård won. And so I'm really hoping that we'll take home like an Oscar win because I think it would really put Norway on the map and kind of create more interest around Norwegian cinema. But I think when I was thinking about entering the industry, I kind of looked at Norway and England, and my friends and my family were like, "Oh, why don't you go back to Norway and try to get into the industry there?" Um, because it must be way easier, right? The smaller industry, but not necessarily in the sense of like in London, yeah, the industry is like huge. You have access to like the world. But there's also, so it's harder to kind of break through there or like get opportunities, but at the same time, there's so much being made all the time. There's all these filmmakers just gathered here wanting to make film. Whereas in Norway, I think the level of production is a little bit more sparse because obviously there's less people in all of Norway, and we have more land than in England, but there's less people than in London.
Yeah.
So obviously there's going to be less opportunities, and kind of there they have this um often use the same actors and stuff. And I think um so I think the playing fields are in that sense kind of similar.
Yeah.
So it's only in December, I think, where I started trying to, talk to some Norwegian filmmakers, figure out how the industry is working over there, because it is again quite different. Like we don't really have agents. There's only a very few amount of agents, and like most actors there will have a just Scandinavian, so Swedish, Danish,
Hmm.
Norwegian agent, or they'll have an agent in England, or a lot of the filmmakers actually live in London.
Yeah, because the
So it
world is
is,
smaller,
even though
right? So you can
it's,
you can get back if you need to.
yeah, that's the thing. It's a 2 hour flight, if even. Um, and yeah, so but it's like getting to know those people as well, which is
Yeah.
hopefully in the future. I
Yeah,
do
you
have
get to branch out, right?
a friend of mine who, yeah, exactly. And I'd love to, I actually haven't recorded or like done much acting in Norwegian before. And so I'm kind of like playing with the idea of um writing so, little something, or I might be collaborating with a friend this year to make like a Norwegian short film or something, where I'm writing at the moment. So I've made a character in Norwegian, but so it can kind of have some Norwegian, but like going to English. Um, so yeah.
Oh, that's exciting though. And I think you've got the right approach here as well. You're here right now in the UK, right? Looking at building those networks. You've been in the R.I.P. Man, so an English language, like UK produced film. And then that must help as well, whether you're continuing to work here or if you do look at the Scandinavian film market, going with a body of work to say, hey, I've also done all this, because obviously you can bring other connections back to those. We see some wonderful films come out of the Nordic region. I know that Scandinavian drama is obviously huge in the UK as well, right? So we just need to
They
bring
do it
horror
really
to that
well.
same level of forefront, because you know what some people know, one of the biggest shows on Netflix last year, right? Department Q. It was reset to Scotland in the English language version, but is originally now is it set in Sweden originally? I don't recall. I'd have to check my facts on that one, but it is
Oh,
a Scandinavian drama that was translated.
I didn't realize. Well, obviously you have like, you also have because I feel like they do horror-esque stuff in terms of like things can be very dark, but
Hmm.
they do like drama incredibly well. And I think they've just mastered the art of show more, say less,
Hmm.
which I really think is impactful in a film. If you can just like experience and like explore things through the visuals instead of having to explain, which I think, like, and no offense, Americans are really good at explaining or having to
Yeah.
push in their point, or even when watching K-dramas, which I love, it's a lot of explanation of like, yeah. Um,
We
and
see
I
almost
think,
a
I mean, we
directive
did
for that, right?
huh?
So we see almost a directive for that in some productions, right? Saying you need to be almost prepared to be a second screen piece of entertainment. So you see a lot more verbal explanation of what's happening. It's a big
Yeah.
bugbear of mine when I'm watching anything. I'm like, I can see, like,
Yeah.
expect a little more of me.
Because I think it's, yeah, because I think it's the fear of like um showing something or telling a story and then it not being picked up on. But I think if you put the trust in the audience, because people watching, like, they're smart, you know? And it's like if they don't pick up on it, well, then they can ask questions later, which creates a discussion about the film. And I think that's way more interesting than going into a film and having things over explained and then you just kind of sat at the end like, okay. And I mean, we have the ugly stepsister, ugly
Yes.
stepdaughter. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
really good film
also
last
received a
year.
nomination for hair and makeup or costume. Um, and that was a really good film. Really good film.
Yeah, one of my
So I think
favorites last year.
it's emerging. Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, really good.
Yeah,
Really has that
it's
body
very,
horror element to it. Really has the like
yeah,
some of the best. I mean, we saw similar but different in the substance as well. Some of the best horror
right.
stories, they don't just have to be gory or scary. Like the thing about Ugly Stepsister is that for large parts of it, some of the biggest impact you get is that it's sad, right?
Yeah, because I think it speaks a lot on the female experience of just being a woman and kind of beauty standards. And I think it does it in a really smart way. And I think if you put those sort of elements into horror films, it's also just gonna reach a wider audience. And I don't know, it's entertaining.
Horror at
Horror,
its
you
very
know.
best, right?
Um,
Entertaining and then gives you something to reflect on at the same time.
exactly. And that's why I love like the works of Aronofsky, where it is like kind of it's a psychological horror. We just sat at the edge of your seat being like with this uncomfortable feeling, but it's not necessarily gory. But or my favorite films are like Rosemary's Baby or Suspiria. I think they're just so incredibly well done and so just like visually pretty. And yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward, Jasmine. I think we're likely to see a lot more from you. I certainly think you've got some wonderful inspirations behind you. It's really cool to hear that you're working behind the camera as well. I'm gonna flag your name on my IMDb so I can keep an eye on what's coming through from you. For now, though, let's dive into the R.I.P. Man. We did meet with the man himself, Owen. While the film was still in
Awesome.
production.
Yeah.
Now it's out, it's available, so we won't just save the plugs to the end, everybody. The R.I.P. Man is available to watch on VOD right now. It's on Amazon Video, I believe. Any other
Mm.
platforms that spring to mind immediately, or is that your main one?
It's on Apple TV in some countries. I think it's in America and Europe or England. And then it's on, I think, YouTube as well.
Okay,
You can
so you
watch
can run it
it.
on YouTube too. Cool.
Yeah. Mm.
Amazing. You said this was your first feature as an actor, right?
Yes, it was.
How did this fall into your lap? Did you see a casting call? Did you know someone in the production? How did it happen?
So it was funny because when I booked it, I was kind of at a point where like I'd gotten my shit together a little bit in terms of I kind of realized how much you have to apply and apply and apply and apply. And I was scrolling on Mandy and I saw this like casting call for a horror film and I read like the basic plot and everything and it was just so it really intrigued me. And the character of Clarissa, which I ended up being cast as, she was just a character I could relate to on so many levels. And so when I applied, um, I can't remember if we taped or not, to be honest. But then what Reese and Jamie ended up doing was like invite a few of us to a pub. Um, and they said basically we could call you guys back and have you do a monologue, give you some direction, but we've seen your reels, we know you can act, so that's not really what we're here to look for. It's more so to look at who you guys are, how you guys interact and see if they could kind of put together that friendship group and how we would fit together. So out of like it was like 9 of us or 6 of us, I can't remember, actors who were invited. I think yeah, obviously the friendship group is I think is there five?
These five main ones, right? Then you've got a couple of
Five,
peripherals.
yeah. So it was like 5 of us who ended up um being on board basically. So they kind of presented us with the script. We had to talk about it, got to know each other a little bit, and then you kind of got the message or the call after being like, "Hey, we would really like you to be a part of this. Um, are you available in a week?"
Get over there.
And yeah, no, exactly. 'Cause we were shooting in the south of England. So I'm London based, but it's about like 2 hours south in Worthing, which is where like all of the filming takes place. And so we ended up meeting a week later to do the first day of shooting for the film. And we started with one of the first couple scenes, kind of after the first murder was happened, and we all meet up in our local, like our go-to spot, like, and kind of take it all in and talk about it. And then on the same day, we ended up shooting the very last scene of the film with me and Donnie, played by Maximus Pauling, who I also hadn't met until the day of because he wasn't there at the pub. So the guy playing my boyfriend or me playing the girlfriend of Donnie, I never met him before until I got on set. And luckily, we had some time at the beginning to just talk. And obviously, I think the whole friendship group, just we really meshed together. And it really felt like we'd known each other for longer than just a week or
Yeah,
just
just a
met
few,
one
like a
day.
couple of meetings, right? And then obviously
Yeah.
whatever you'd spoken about in between via phones and what have you. That's a really interesting approach to it because obviously the dynamic of the group is fairly central to the film, right? Without going into spoilers of a movie right now, there is a connection between the R.I.P. Man and at least some of the members of the friendship group, and you do see people kind of disappear one by one. In fact, the cold open of the film is one of your friends who we never get to see you together on screen,
Yeah.
particularly, but from the very first scene that you're in, you are reflecting on one of your friends having been killed. And obviously there are influences we could speak about there. You have that energy of the cast of Scream and so on as well, getting together and having to be thrust from your normal lives into this situation where it becomes increasingly evident that someone is specifically targeting your group of friends.
Yeah. And I think it's so interesting to then put a group of people who have all different like personalities, all the characters have different ways of kind of reacting to it and dealing with it. And some of the boys obviously are a little bit, boys, and then you have those girls trying to be like a little bit more sensitive about it, and you kind of grow certain suspicions for people, and it just kind of shows how that also affects the friendship group. But yeah, obviously, the R.I.P. Man is like kind of inspired by Scream, but it's got a whole different killer. So, the killer basically has anodontia. So the R.I.P. Man has this rare dental condition that means he's born without teeth. And so one of his signatures with his victims is that at the end of the kill, he'll keep a little trophy, I guess, or like yeah, so basically pull out people's teeth at the end of it.
Really getting into
Um,
that classic hard coded fear that many of us have of the dentist as well, right?
oh my God, I've literally, kid you not, had a panic attack at the dentist in my life. So yeah, no, it's quite freaky.
Yeah. And like it's a nice thing to like give the killer a unique kind of methodology behind and I guess a motivation for his kills. Not a normal no motivation, of course, but he's not a normal person.
Obviously. I hope not, at least. But it's yeah, no, I think what Reese and Jamie really did well was take kind of the classic tropes of a horror film like Scream and make it unique and make it something new. And I think that's so important, especially when you're making not just with independent, but I guess with bigger movies as well. What we're seeing a lot of is um, things being reused or kind of getting old, and it's like I think it's always and it's hard to think of something new nowadays because like so many things have been done. But so when they approached me and spoke about the R.I.P. Man, I just thought it was an incredibly exciting concept that's completely new. I hadn't heard of it before, and yeah, I was very lucky to be a part of it.
Yeah, and it's an exciting thing to do. You mentioned like, difficult to find ideas anywhere. I think one thing that I will always want to make time to celebrate and that we all should is that an independently made film. Now I know that Reese and Jamie have done incredible work. You know, they have put the funds together for the film. They have done like crowdfunding campaigns. They have built this from scratch. But I think if you are a, not to diminish anyone's knowledge, if you're a casual viewer, you know, you see what comes up on your streaming service and you watch it, it can really be sort of obfuscated for you, like the role that studios and, you know, getting the permission to get your film out there often has for your big budgets, and the work that independent filmmakers do to make these things happen by, to be honest, force of will and passion for the projects that they're working on alone, and having to raise those funds not by going to meetings with studios and your friends in Hollywood to say, "Will you sign this check for me?" For looking for potential viewers to get behind your idea and bring these things to life. And then I imagine having to make very hard decisions and having to, you know, really squeeze every penny that you have available to you to make a film as accomplished as you can, right?
Yeah, and I think that's something Reese and Jamie has done so well in terms of like they're putting absolutely their all into this. Um, and I think it also influenced the way the film was made. So because of the crowdfunding, we're kind of funding it as we were going. So we'd shoot a little bit, promote it, try to get some more funds to create the rest of it. And I thought it was such a smart way of doing it, but it was also like it was a new way of working for me where we had obviously we met up 1 week after the casting in like October or November of 2024 and shot like for 1 day. And then it would go a couple of months until they were like, "Hey, are you free this day? Here are the sides." And also the script had to be adapted to the budget quite a bit, so it was quite different to what it originally was. Um, but it's like you said, you kind of with these independent films, it's blood, sweat, and tears just trying to get them made, which also makes it fun to work on because every person who's there, you're not there for any kind of recognition or money, or you're just there because you genuinely care about the film and the story, and we're all just trying to make it work and get it out there. Um, And yeah, I think the way they've approached the sort of crowdfunding and trying to get interest in the film has been really, really smart. And I think they're lovely guys, and I think people can see that and want to. That's why they want to support them.
Yeah. I think
Um,
it's
yeah.
like it's such a big task as well because those guys are wearing so many hats,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Yeah, they're producers, but by virtue of the way they're funding, they're also a marketing department. They're also,
Yes.
you know, they're also working on the script. I know, does Jamie appears in the film as well? He comes in front of the camera.
Yes, in the first film he does. So Jamie has been an actor for many years and he's very experienced. And so I unfortunately didn't have a scene with him, but yeah, he does appear as a detective.
Yeah, because this is almost
So
like an element that I'm sure, based on your film recommendations and history, you could. It has some almost giallo elements about it, right? So you have these gruesome murders appearing on scene. You've got your victims, but then a classic giallo trope is you have a detective character who is out there trying to investigate the cause of the murders, who doesn't necessarily interact with you as the victims very regularly, but has a lot of scenes on their own, like as they try to explore.
yeah.
Like, yeah, I putting this all together again, I don't want to go into spoilers for a movie that's just come out, but one more piece on production. I think one of the things which is incredibly interesting at an industry level is for all of its, you know, it's a double-edged sword. I know that we have comments on the cinema that everyone loves and what streaming services do to that, but it must be a great option. The fact that streaming does for film production a lot what e-readers have done for book production, right? You don't have to have this. There are so many less gatekeepers between you and getting your film in front of an audience now. You haven't got to have reached that bar whereby, you can look for cinema distribution necessarily, although I know that's always a huge dream. Streaming has done a lot. Do you see that with the people that you work with? Is that opening a lot more opportunities?
Oh, 100%. And I think just for me as an actor as well, being able to reach out to people or meet with people I never thought I'd be able to meet with. I think the internet is great. These streaming platforms are great in terms of, like you said, everything is so much more accessible nowadays, and you can put your stuff up there and you can get it seen. Um, so as many negatives as there are, like I work part-time at a cinema, and the cinema industry is struggling, and I've seen that myself. It was I think not this summer, but the summer before that. So summer of, yeah, I've been there for a while now. But that yeah, 2 summers ago, I think half of the staff were unfortunately like laid off, a bunch of sites closed. I work for a picture house,
Hmm.
which is obviously owned by Cineworld as well, and a bunch of Cineworld cinemas had shut down, unfortunately. And so while it is scary to see, I think things are stabilizing. We see a lot more people coming to the cinema now. And I think it's literally a result of still COVID, as much as I hate to still be talking about it, COVID and the strikes and just like the general economy that people can't really afford to go
It's a
because
treat,
it's
right? Yeah.
expensive and the tickets are rising, and it's like, and even the cinemas don't want to rise their prices of tickets, but they're trying to survive, we're trying to survive. And I think for streaming platforms then to be accessible to so many more people, both because people don't have time, people don't have money to go, and I think the streaming services opens up a whole different world where you have those that access to entertainment and to films. And yeah, so in many ways, I think it's amazing, and I need to up my social media game. I'm trying, but it's also annoying that it's become such a big part of being an actor, or like you have to kind of do the whole social media thing and um try to be seen, because ideally I'd not be on there because I think it has so many more
Hmm.
negatives for your mental
Yeah.
health and just general well-being than it does positives. And it's fun to share with friends, but when it becomes this like comparison game, and it can be tough, and it's very time consuming, and it's so as much as I'm happy about it, I also hate it, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
Everything is, yeah. Everything is like a double-edged sword, right? You have to choose what you're
Yeah.
going to use it for, but it can absolutely cut you both ways. You've got to
I
kind of
think
get support the things that you want to support.
Yeah, I think just being healthy about it, and like looking at yourself and taking care of yourself. And then I think you just, what else can we do but try to look at the positives and feed into the positives of things. Because like, yeah, like the R.I.P Man, it's on Amazon Prime, it's on Apple TV. It's amazing that it's
Yeah.
on those
And
platforms that are so
it's out
massive.
there and you can
It's
go and
out
watch it.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you can get seen. And then, I mean, let's talk about it now. Where would you tell you what, I'll change the order slightly. We know the R.I.P. Man already. The team are looking at a sequel, right? As with all
Yes.
good slashers, the sequel is what it's all about, right? Like we'll leave it a couple until he goes to space or anything like that, anything crazy. But you're involved in the sequel, right? Can you tell us a little bit
I
about it? A
am.
little bit of a tease?
So I think for the sequel, what we can promise you is more murders, more blood, more gore, um, and just sort of a continuation of, there's some new twists and turns. Yeah, I'm gonna
Well, stay
leave it at
tight-lipped.
that,
I
I
won't
think.
spoil the ending. You won't spoil the ending. If people want to know, they can go to one of those platforms and check it out, I suppose, and then they can anticipate along with everybody else.
But again, similarly to the first film, a kind of short film or some footage is going to be released very soon for crowdfunding. So as soon as that's up, that's going to be announced on probably Instagram. Um, as soon as that's up, if you want to have a look, see what you think, if you want to support the film, the second to be made, then it's all going to be on there. We also have a website for the R.I.P Man if you want to check it out.
We will be sure to share those notes as and when they come out. We'll be watching the news very closely and we'll share it with everyone who listens along with us. But as an actor, as a, budding producer and, director of the future even, as well as a writer, we'll talk about the R.I.P. Man, but feel free to extend this to your other projects as well. Um, what do you hope an audience takes away when they sit down to watch one of your films?
I think that's the scariest thing about being an actor is how am I going to be perceived? How is my character going to be perceived? Is it what I had in mind for building the character? Are people going to enjoy my choices or my character? And really, what I hope um, that people experience when they watch something that I'm in is that they um, see a character that you can kind of not even just relate to, but that you can feel for and understand and kind of be taken on the journey of the story. Um, yeah. I think that's what I love about cinema is when I watch something and say sentimental value, I was crying so hard because I was both not only just relating, but I could also understand where the characters were coming from so much. You feel for them, you're invested, and I think that's what every actor wants to achieve is um, kind of breaking through the screen of like just being there with someone and you can kind of experience all of these emotions
Yeah.
through watching someone else
Get a
go through
connection
them.
with the story, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what it's about at the end of the day.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, my final couple of questions for you. One, most importantly of all, we've talked a lot about the R.I.P. Man. People know where they can find that. Apple TV, YouTube, Amazon Prime. But where can people follow you, Jasmine, if they so wish to? I know you're talking about upping your social media game. Social media is not what it used to be.
Right.
Where's the best place to follow you if they
No.
wanted to keep up with your news?
I think I'm most active on Instagram. It's just at Jasmine Kheen. So I post a lot of like updates of what I'm doing or stuff on there. I am also working on just a website just to like put everything together in one space. But again, it'll be linked on my Instagram. I'm on IMDb. Gonna try and post more on TikTok. A little late to the game. But yeah, that's also just at Jasmine Kheen anywhere. Oh,
Awesome. Well, hopefully people can catch up with you there. And now, I usually promise not any hard questions, but I can't do a podcast called The Horror Hangout and not put you on the spot for a film choice. So here's the scene for you. It's a weekend. You having people, they're coming round to your house for a movie night. They say to you, Jasmine, you've been in a horror film. We're gonna have a horror movie night. We want your choice. And you were also that kid that was showing it to other kids at school, so you've got form for this. What film? Let's say they're not all horror fans, they're a mixed group. They're coming round. What film are you choosing to put on for them for yourself?
I think that's a really hard choice because what's the vibe of the night? Do we want something that's a little heavier? Do we want something that's just purely entertaining? Because you can have a lot of horror films that are, like I think if I had a friendship group, I'd put on something like a blockbuster,
Put a big one on.
maybe Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, exactly. But if you have people there who are a little more, interested in not just seeing murders and the kind of blockbustery, really well-made films, but still blockbuster. I'd probably put on some of my favorites, just Suspiria, because a lot of people haven't seen it, and I think it's such an incredible piece of art, which is what it is. It's not perfect, but it's not necessarily very scary, but it's like it's got those horror elements to it, and it's just a really beautiful piece of art, in my opinion. Or I love Mother by Darren Aronofsky, but it's such an uncomfortable feeling. But it would be interesting to watch someone watch that film because I know what feeling I was sitting with watching that film, and it would be interesting to see if other people are. I think the performances in it is just incredible. Um, I think those would be my choices. So it
No,
kind of depends on the audience.
you can
Sorry, it
put you
wasn't
can
just
put
one.
you can put a
But
treble you can put a triple bill on. You're fine.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Why not? Just keep them here all night. They're not
Start
able
in
to
the early
leave.
afternoon, finish late. You're fine.
Exactly. Lock the door. They're like, Jasmine, we don't want to watch more films. I'm like, yeah,
No more.
yes. Be a horror movie in itself.
Say again, sorry.
That could be a horror movie in
It could
itself.
be, yeah, locked in.
Yeah,
Start on the
exactly.
script.
Start
Oh,
threatening them. Watch.
this. Thank you, Jasmine, so much for hanging out with us a little bit this morning. Again, people can catch the R.I.P. Man anywhere that you like to stream your movies. If you, depending on your country, give it a search, you will find out where it is available. Follow on those social channels for more news of the upcoming sequels. If you've watched it, drop us a note. Let us know what you think. But otherwise, I will thank everyone for listening. I will thank Taj Easton for our theme music, Acast for hosting the show, and I will see you all next time. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Jasmine.
Bye.